Hello, everybody. You are listening to Genesis Office Hours, episode number 47. I'm your host, Carrie Dills, and I would like to thank our sponsors for the show, Manage WP, who is a one-stop shop for all your WordPress admin. So if you've got a ton of WordPress sites, you can pull them all into one single dashboard and manage those over at managewp.com. For more information, visit managewp.com. All right, now on to my amazing guests who just arrived via TARDIS, Scott Kingsley Clark and Josh Pollock. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
What's up?
Okay, so before the show, we were talking about, Josh, what did you call the game?
Oh, Count the Tardai.
Oh, well, that's kind of an obvious title. I'm sorry I missed that. So Count the Tardai. So whenever Scott's talking, which I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself, and Scott, if you could make it a lengthy introduction so that we all have a chance to look around your office and count the Tardai, which I guess is plural for TARDIS.
Possibly.
Sure? Okay. Scott, tell the world about yourself.
So I am Scott Kingsley Clark. I'm the lead developer of the Pods project. I am a senior web engineer at 10up. There are multiple TARDISes and Tardai in my office here. A few you probably won't be able to see because of the contrast on the video, but there's actually some Tardai on my guitar straps. So those are custom made because they're hard to find. But yeah, so I love developing with WordPress and spend my nights staying up late and hanging out with Josh, Jim, Phil, and the crew over on the Pods team. We do lots of cool stuff and try to make things easier for people to develop with WordPress and to come to WordPress as new developers from other platforms.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. We'll dig into those topics and throughout the show. Josh, please introduce yourself.
So my name is Josh Pollock. I'm actually not a huge Doctor Who fan. That's the topic of this podcast, right? Doctor Who? But my wife is, and Scott is, so by proxy, I appreciate it. And my living room has, I think, 2 Tardai, and my license plate surround has 1 or 2. So you have to go a little bit deeper to play the game. But I work for Pods as the community manager and contributing developer and whatever else needs done. And I'm also a freelance developer, and I am the guy who runs the site and extra developer for CalderaWP.com, a company that does WordPress training and plugins.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you guys on, and just so the folks listening, actually, I guess I should let everyone know who's listening. If you're listening live, you can keep up with the conversation, comment, or ask questions on Twitter using the hashtag GOHChat. Whatever you ask these guys on the show, using that hashtag, we'll get that question on. So here, oh yeah, that's right. I got ahead of myself. Okay, so Scott Kingsley Clark is a fellow Texan, not too far over in the land of, from me, in the land of Dallas, and he's one of my co-organizers for WordCamp DFW. So very, very cool. And then Josh, I just met for the first time at WordCamp San Francisco. I mean, we were little online buddies, but we never actually met in person. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to come on today and educate us. With that, here's the first question. What the hell is the Pods framework?
It's a good question. I have no idea. No, but in a more truthful sense, the Pods framework is a project that was born out of a need for content types inside of WordPress. This is predating custom post types, APIs, all sorts of stuff that was in WordPress. So this is back in the 2.x days of WordPress, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, and custom post types didn't actually arrive into WordPress with an actual API until WordPress 3.0. So there was a lot of a big need for it. So a developer, his name is Matt Gibbs. He started the project back in 2008, 2009, and I joined onto the project really quickly within about a week or two. It's one of those fate things. We were working on this a similar project at like the company I was working at, and my boss said, "Hey, what about this?" And I immediately shifted all my focus, put a lot of my time into it, and eventually became the lead developer of the project. But it's basically a plugin that allows you to create new content types of all sorts. That's custom post types, custom taxonomies, new settings, as well as you can actually add new custom tables inside of WordPress that you can define your fields, and it actually correlates to a column inside the database table. And there's lots of other things we've got the ability to do. But essentially, it just lets you create custom content types and custom fields for those content types in a way that's a data architect's kind of view. So it's got like a tree. You have your content types, you have your buckets, you choose what fields you want, and they're self-encapsulated. So they're not necessarily like, we're going to add this field, it's going to be on all these different content types. It's more structured.
Would you say the podcast is more for an advanced developer, or what's the entry point for being comfortable? I mean, of course, there's a learning curve anytime you're working with new software, but who's your target audience?
I think our target audience is actually, it's been for a while. It's really developer oriented, but we're really trying to make an effort to bridge the gap between developers and newcomers, people who may not know code and may just want to point and click and do things. So we're trying to. It's a really tough thing because to cater to both is the biggest difficulty in that is making sure that you can tell them how to do it. So documentation, tutorials, all that stuff is really tough to cater to all of the different hats that people wear. So our goal is to become probably 50-50 in terms of oriented towards developers and end users and people who don't know code. But right now I'd say probably it's more like 75-25. It's not necessarily that they can't use it if they're not a developer. It's just a lot harder for them to grasp some concepts because there are a lot of possibilities with pods. So it may just be drinking from the fire hose and really difficult to grasp. Whereas they could go into use another plugin out there. There's there's actually 3 or 4 plugins that are a little more easier to someone who's just coming into WordPress and doesn't want to dig into all the different things that they may be able to do.
Well, and I would also say that I feel like we have sort of 2 types of new users, and one of those types of new users is new to making websites or new to doing content management sites and doesn't have a technical background. And the other type of new WordPress user that we have is actually very sophisticated. It just isn't used to WordPress, so they have a MySQL background. They may or may not know PHP, but a lot of those that second type of user is attracted to us because the way that WordPress handles post meta, right? So you have a meta key value pair for every single custom field. Doesn't make a ton of sense to them coming into it from a traditional database structure. So they're attracted to the fact that we have these custom tables. It makes more sense to them. And for them, we're sort of that gateway to like, oh yeah, but this is how you do it in WordPress in a nice way in. And then our other type of new user is literally somebody who thought like, oh, I can make this website that's got a lot of going to need a custom post type, custom field. I'm doing some sort of catalog. I'm doing some sort of event site, these sorts of things. And they're attracted to us because you can do most of that from the back end alone. We have pods templates so you can you can create your custom post types in our admin screen, and then staying in the admin, you can build a template that's just HTML and these magic tags that we have. And then we have some add-on plugins that will automatically output those. So sometimes we can get you the whole way there without writing any additional code. Sometimes you can't, and then we become that sort of gateway to, okay, well now I have to figure out how to use an action hook in WordPress. So I think we're kind of, yes, we have experienced users, but we really have two types of new users, and that's what makes it really hard for us, is we have these people who are really comfortable writing SQL, and then people who don't know that SQL is a thing.
Yes, I can see the conundrum there. We've already got some great questions rolling in, and the first one, which was Ken was already kind enough to answer on Twitter, but the question from Devender was, does Pods play well with the Genesis framework? And Ken is saying that there's absolutely no problem there. I mean, really, there's nothing about Pods that would interfere with Genesis. They're there's not really overlap. I guess, would that be a fair way to say it?
Yeah, I mean, I have used it at least once, possibly twice with Genesis. And the thing is that a custom post type added by Pods is a custom post type. We have a little bit of integration, but we don't really need much more, right? Genesis, it has the ability to register support for Genesis post types, right? And then you have that Genesis post types admin screen. And so when you do have Genesis activated and Pods activated, in the Pods editor, there's a section for supports, things like does it support a excerpt, does it support post author. And so you'll see those Genesis supports as checkboxes there. Beyond that, it's just like working with any other custom post type. I have a very short tutorial on it, basically showing how to use the Pods class or get post meta inside the Genesis entry action to output some custom fields. But really, it's no different than any other custom post type that you've added. You create,
Sure.
You look at the WP hierarchy, you create a single hyphen, whatever post type is .php, and then you either use the Pods class or get post meta to get those custom fields there.
And just so wild rumors don't start flying, there's nothing special about registering a custom post type in Genesis. It's just the regular old WordPress way. So not a specific Genesis theme supports.
Yeah, what we ended up doing there was we had some Genesis users, and they mentioned that there are some things that they have to add to support some features inside of Genesis. Not that Genesis won't work, it's just there were just a couple of extra features that they can integrate with. And so we just went ahead and found those supports values, and we automatically detect if Genesis is installed, and if it is, we go ahead and add some options into our native API, or native UI for the custom post type options. So it's pretty seamless to the user, so they just automatically just see, oh, hey, I can do this and this and this. They don't have to worry about any complex remembering of what the actual strings are. They can just click it and then enable it. So those are easy wins for us, because we love making it easier for our users to do what they want to do.
Cool. And I think you've just answered a question that we had from Seth, but let's say you're running some events calendar plugin and they've got an events custom post type. Most likely, if the plugin has followed, good naming conventions, it's not going to, it shouldn't conflict anyways with whatever you're naming your CPTs on the back end. But no conflict there. Would you just in that case have two events post types?
Right. Yep.
All right. Well, that would, yeah. Okay. All right. So we got another question here. I'm gonna take some of these questions out of order, but the burning question, other than what is Pods, is how is it different from or similar to some similar products on the market? So you've got advanced custom fills, custom meta boxes, WP types and views. How does this stack up against them?
Yeah, that's a question we get often, and we've tackled it through a number of ways. A lot of times when we'll be talking about what Pods is, that's one of the first questions that comes up. Why would we use Pods when there's plugins out there that do something similar? What makes it different? How is it different? So I can hit all those points very easily. I'm pretty versed in it. So I've been studying custom post types and the metadata API for a while. probably since I started development with pods and such, to figure out what we could do inside of WordPress, what we couldn't do, what was extendable, what's not. But I think that when pods first came out, it was actually a custom post type. It was the first custom post type plugin for WordPress, and it was before there was actually support for an API for custom post types. And it wasn't the first custom field plugin, because there had existed other plugins out there like Flutter, custom field template, stuff like that. And custom fields had already been gaining popularity in terms of usage and people building plugins for it to let you define them. So there's a lot. There's actually over 100 plugins out there for WordPress that let you define custom fields through a UI or through its own code. It's pretty crazy that there's a significant amount, but there is. And so there's really, I would say there's probably 5 to 10 plugins that stick out that are really the primary shareholders in this, I guess you could say, content type custom field game. That would be Types, the plugin built by the people from WPML. They also have their tool set that includes a bunch of other modules that do different things. There's Advanced Custom Fields, the most popular plugin for WordPress for custom fields right now. Custom Field Suite, which is originally a fork of ACF, but it actually was rewritten and is lightweight custom field plugin. There's things like Pods. There's things like DB Toolkit, which is no longer around. There's also some competitors to Pods in terms of what we do. We let you define custom tables and such. There's one of our other primary, I would say our primary competitor, which is from a New York company. I can't remember the name now. So there's lots of options, but at the simple level, Advanced Custom Fields, Custom Field Suite, and some other plugins that are custom field focused, they're custom field focused. So you get to say, I want to add this custom field, I want to choose the content types it appears on, and there's more specific things for those cases. So it can show the field only if the post format is this, show the field only if they have this category selected, stuff like that. It's linear. So when you add your field groups inside of Custom Field Suite or Advanced Custom Fields, what you're looking at is a high level, these are all my field groups. And you can share field groups within multiple content types. But what Pods does is it takes that linear view and makes it more structured. So you can say, instead of looking at my custom field groups, I'm actually looking at my custom content types. And I can see that I've extended the user's object and I've added the fields to this. Now those fields may also be on other content types, but they're not displayed in a way that's linear. It's really organized so that you can look at it from a data architecture standpoint. You can see that you clearly have a structure set in mind. You can relate things between different objects, and it's a lot. I would say it's for a developer, it's easier to use and understand. For a user, it may be harder to understand because when you use advanced custom fields, it's a lot simpler, and you don't have to worry about as much things, but you also learn a lot of things out of that. Like I would say that a lot of users coming from advanced custom fields or those types of plugins coming to Pods, they find themselves boxed in, and Pods allows them to do more, like define custom content types, do things that may be a little more difficult to structure inside of advanced custom fields. Plugins like Types allow you to do both content types and custom fields. But again, Pods is a bit more than that because we have a whole relationship API that lets you traverse different relationships, doing lookups. We've got a lot of really cool things in it, like the custom tables, also custom pages, custom templates that let you do a little more abstraction, maybe a little more easier depending on how you look at it. There's plugins that extend Pods, like Pods Frontier, Easy Pods, that let you do even more. But I think really the value inside of Pods versus other plugins is that versus the other plugins, we have a community. We have, I mean, we're a free plugin. This touches on another point someone asked. We're a free plugin. We're supported by donations through sponsorships by companies like Automatic. Time spent through projects we develop with pods goes right back into the project. We have a guy, Phil Lewis, who works on a lot of freelance projects within the pod's name, and basically he does the work, they pay pods, and we can make sure that we keep our team fed and such. So we're not monetized through premium support or add-ons or anything. There are companies like Josh actually started a company recently with another guy, David Kramer, and they are doing premium add-ons, not just for pods but for other things. And that's interesting because it's the first non-pods plugin that is premium that extends pods, and it's really beneficial because they're actually donating proceeds back to pods, and I think that's going to be crucial to our growth, is people like that are able to help us keep continued funding. We've got some really cool things for funding coming up in March. It's going to really revolutionize, I hope, the whole way of running a free plugin community and keeping it alive through a unique funding model that's not just donations or sponsorships. So that I'm excited to see what that comes to pass. But back to the original question, Advanced Custom Fields is a plugin. It's highly popular. It's really easy to use, really understandable. Pods is for someone who knows more of what they need, is not afraid of seeing lots of options that they can choose from, different content types, different field types. We've got a lot of stuff, a lot of power built into pods. If you've already dove into a plugin like Advanced Custom Fields, you'll find that pods gets you a lot more in terms of flexibility, in terms of technical aspects.
So I've been playing with Advanced Custom Fields recently. Somebody brings me in to do a site, and from scratch, I like pods. Somebody's got a site that's 90% done using Advanced Custom Fields. I'm going to stick with Advanced Custom Fields, not restart it. And I think it's a really great option. I understand why it's popular. I think that we do cross over in terms of adding custom fields to your post types. Making that available in your meta, in the meta section of your post editor. We do take it a little bit further in terms of we allow you to actually register your post types there. We have templating options built in that are really neat. And also our relational system, I think, is probably the best thing about pods, personally. I mean, I came to pods very soon before I met Scott. It was a very fate type thing, with the sense of I was like, oh, I need this. I don't know how to use this. And then Scott hired me to help people use it. It's like to learn on the job. But the relational system in it, and the fact that it's really simple. So we have relationship fields that you can say, I want to select as the value of this field something in another content type. And that could be users, that can be another post type, that could be a custom table. And the ability to work very quickly and easily with that, it's only like a year later I figured out how that works on a MySQL side. So having that built into you really, I think, is what separates pods. It makes it, the fact that we do it so seamlessly and you can traverse into those so easily, I think that's a really great thing about pods. And the fact that it's free, that we're committed to keeping it free, and that we have this awesome community. We have people answering questions in our support that are just people who use our product and are really passionate about it, and people who contribute. I really think that the community around it, the fact that this is a community resource, is one of the things that makes it really special.
That sounds very similar to the Genesis community. Of course, Genesis is a paid product, but in terms of a lot of people that are just passionate about it, pouring themselves back into writing helpful content around it, answering forum questions, and that sort of thing. And might I just say, we have a really, there's tons of great questions coming out on Twitter. You guys, my audience, are, thank you for that. Okay, so you mentioned that Automatic is one of your fundies. How does that go?
Sponsors.
So will we see pods rolled into Jetpack?
No. Wait. What was the question? What did he say? Will it be rolled into or integrated?
Oh, I was trying to make a nerd joke. I was
Oh.
asking if we would see pods rolled into Jetpack.
Oh no, that would be scary. That would be a scary day.
Well, I think it's good that they're doing certain post types in there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that would be absurd, and Scott can give his metadata API question there, but I do think that them handling certain post types like the portfolio, I think is a really good step in the right direction for standardization.
Yeah, we get the question, or actually, I see it a lot with ACF and custom fields plugins out there. A lot of people say, "Why isn't this in WordPress Core? This really makes it awesome." And it really goes back to the question of, do we need this on every single site? Is this absolutely necessary? Even if it was optional, like a bundled plugin, I think that there's still a lot of gray area right now. Things are still settling, even though it's been 4 years. Things are still settling exactly what users want to do with their sites, because a lot of users don't actually see the ability to do this because it's not in a WordPress course, so they don't even do it. They don't even know that, oh, I can do this. They don't explore it. They don't mess with it because it's more to worry about when they set up a WordPress site. They don't need to. If they're just now digging into it, they don't have to worry about it. But I think at some point in the future we may see something. I think the current goal right now is to get a better metadata API into place so that plugins like Pods and ACF can utilize these. I would hope ACF would use it in the future, but I think that if we can get that in there, it'll help these plugins standardize more things. And once we reach a better understanding of how this whole ecosystem will work, if it was inside of Core, like Drupal has CCK in Core, I think that it's going to be difficult because we have to still manage that fire hose. When someone starts in WordPress, we don't want them to see a billion options to do things. It's decisions, not options, is the mindset within WordPress core development. So I think that adding a UI inside a core, even bundled, may be stretching that too much, too far, even if it was simple. So I think we'll have to see how it goes. Inclusion in Jetpack, of course, I think it's possible they could add something to do that inside of core Jetpack. I don't know yet what their plans are there. I do know we're trying to get Pods to a point where it's lighter weight. It can be used in more cases in more enterprise environments. Automatic funding is definitely helping us towards that goal, making sure it's 100% secure in every way it can be, making sure that it's performant in every way possible. That's definitely what their aim is towards helping us.
Awesome. Well, I think that you just addressed Gary's question, but Gary, if you have a follow-up, post that on Twitter. So folks are asking, can you describe a site that would be a great example of needing pods to really flesh out a complex content structure?
So I can think of a few. Jim, one of the guys who works for us, has done a site for Denise Jacobs, a motivational speaker coach, and so he's used pods to bring in events, speakers, those sorts of things together. So those are all custom post types and how they relate, and those sorts of things where you need different containers, right? It doesn't matter. You're thinking of a custom post type, a custom taxonomy, these sorts of things. They're all just containers for data, right? When you think about them on that abstract level. And so when you need to have them in different places and then be a part of it, so you have a site like an event site, but then you have speakers and you have venues. So it's a great way of bringing those all together. So this event is at this venue and has these speakers. I've done some neat sites with it. One I like a lot is learnomnifocus.com, where it's a tutorial site. So tutorials as a post type, and then all the different fields are being used for showing the premium video, the free content, the premium content article-wise. I'm trying to think of some other good ones that I've seen out there. Scott, you got a good example?
No.
Scott's made some neat sites with it.
Well, I've made some really large sites with pods. Really, really complicated ones with lots of relationships, lots of data, millions of rows, types of stuff, and it's definitely tricky to. I think the biggest thing to do is to figure out what data you have, what fields you need, and how they relate to each other. That's usually the step one, because if you get to that part and you have to revisit that further down the line in development with data inside of it, it can become extremely bad. It takes much more time to mess things up and migrate things around. But I've done big things with it. I think that was what you're asking. Sorry, I'm answering questions on Twitter as well.
But also simple sites. Somebody sent me a dogbreedslist.com. This is one of our users, which is a really cute site. Like, I'm a dog guy, so they got me. But this is a site that they let you submit information through the front end about different dog breeds. So it's like a crowdsourced site about dogs. And it's not a complicated site. They have a couple pods, but it's an example of a simple site that we make possible for somebody who isn't much of an expert. I mean, they clearly have a great sense of design. It's a great-looking site, but they admittingly are not programmers. And it's the kind of site where they were able to do something that's actually kind of complicated in terms of creating a relational database of dog breeds and getting front-end submissions. And we're able to do it with pods and a custom layout builder and a little bit of design sense. And so it's not just about big sites with lots of data. I think it's about simple sites for people that want to get it out there. I think it's a great way to do an MVP for a product, for a SaaS service.
Yeah, I've actually got a project in mind that I've bid on it. We'll see if it comes back around, but that I think would be perfect for pods. So would be excited to get a project where it was more than just a single custom post type and a couple of meta boxes. But I digress. Okay, so there's something called the Conductor plugin. And I've had one of the creators, Matt Medeiros, on the show before, and Conductor's actually sponsored the podcast previously. That Conductor plugin is a front-end builder, so it takes whatever custom post types or whatever you've got going on in the background and lets you arrange those things on the front end. And so Chris had a question. She wants to know if the Conductor plugin is the only way to display info on the front end without writing code.
No, but it's a great way. Matt is great, and that plugin is great. Like, he really blew me away with that. I really think that's a great. It works well with pods, custom post types that are using meta storage, and pretty much most things you do with WordPress. So that is a great option for doing it visually. There are a bunch of options, though. We have a plugin called Pods Frontier Auto Template that will take a pods template and automatically output it in place of the content, before, after, or in place of it. So you can make your template in the back end. It's a little bit of code, but it's not PHP. It's just our magic tags and HTML. And so that's actually a surprisingly popular plugin. I kind of wrote it to prove a point that it was needed. And I think we're at like 3,500 downloads on it on WordPress.org, so that's great.
That's awesome.
And also, David Kramer and I created a plugin called Caldera Easy Pods, which is a plugin that we sell at calderawp.com. It again uses with pods templates. It gives you a very easy way to build a query using a visual query builder. So when this field equals or contains or doesn't equal or is greater than this value. And then it uses an AJAX interface to load that in. So you just drop in a shortcode or a function, depending on how you're doing it. So there are a lot of options. I think it's actually, there are a lot of ways of doing it. Facet WP by Matt Gibbs, who's the original developer of Pods, and also makes custom field suite now. That works again with...
I have that plugin, and I totally forgot about it until you just mentioned that.
Facet WP is really cool.
It's a great plugin.
It's so cool. And I've used that to do like search interfaces. on sites where Pods creates the custom fields, and then you can search your custom fields or custom taxonomies with Facet WP. And then you use that for essentially to build your archives, your searches. So that's another option. But I think it's a really open space. I think that these sorts of plugins to make it easier to integrate custom fields it's a good opportunity for a developer with an interesting idea.
Oops, got to get myself off mute here. Jumping around a little bit, we had a question from Ben, and he develops sites for clients, and then I'm assuming hands-off, where sometimes the clients are doing their own site maintenance moving forward. But he says from an end usability perspective, ACF, or Advanced Custom Fields, reduces his support requests significantly. When it comes to Pods implementation, we've already talked about, once it's already set up and the structure is there, could a complete novice go in and maintain it?
Yeah, certainly. A lot of the stuff that lets you drill into options and such to set it up and configure it, it may require just a bit of knowledge of how those things work, or that you actually need it. But someone to just go in and say, actually, I've had clients go in, and my dad is a client actually. I built a site for him a while back for an organization that he's part of, and he manages the pods himself. He can add the custom fields to whatever content types he wants. He can add new content types. It's all very easy for him, and not to say that he doesn't know technology, because I sort of came from a line of engineers, so he was a programmer himself, and then eventually became a project manager, and then slid on away. But it's actually really easy to maintain versus build initially. So if you need to add a new custom field or change a name or change a label, it's actually really easy to get into and do it. The more complex things I'll always require some knowledge of, I actually want a relationship field or something. I need it to relate to this object. So knowing that you can actually do it is half the battle. Doing it is just really, it's core to the battle. The rest of the battle, I guess the other core to the battle is just drinking monsters and trying to stay awake. I saw someone else actually mention the metadata API and UI stuff. That is something I'm currently trying to push forward inside of WordPress Core. We've been putting together a couple proposals via code over the past year, and we've gotten some good ideas of what we want to do, and implementation is always the difficult thing for what can we get to WordPress Core, what do we need it to be. This past November, as I was preparing for a presentation at WordCamp Toronto in Canada, I basically realized that everything we had done up to that point had to be scrapped. Not necessarily the experience and the knowledge, just the code. So we're restarting the code base, cleaned up, going to base it off the customizer model, and go forward from there, let you extend multiple content types, APIs. But I think that the next steps are currently right now. I'm in the process of doing a proposal internally with 10up. I'm going to see if I can get some time. It's not really a problem. I just have to give them the proposal, and they've already said, yeah, we'd love you to help work on WordPress Core. So I just need to formalize it with them, and I think I'm going to get a big chunk of time to work on it, paid. So that's nice. But I think the next steps are just me doing that, and then spending a week on it and getting everything back up to snuff. I'll be working directly with Helen, who's also at 10up. Luckily, she's been assigned the core lead for the project for the metadata API, so that we can consult with her on the core needs, core specific things that they are going to require, and she's mentoring me into creating the proposal, the official merge proposal of it as a feature into WordPress Core for whatever the next version is once we get to the point when it's ready. Do some usability tests, development tests, unit tests, all that stuff. So there's a lot of work to be done, but what it'll do is essentially take out 3/4 of the code out of a lot of these plugins, make a lot of this stuff a lot easier. It doesn't necessarily get rid of them. It just makes it easier for them to extend and do things more standard. Like, it'd be great to switch between advanced custom fields and just turn on pods and say, well, I see you have all your custom fields here, or whatever. Would you like to bring them over? Type of stuff. So I think we could work better together. Right now we're too splintered, and this API should help bring us together.
Thank you for the extra info on that, and I do apologize for awkward silences. Once again, I have found myself on my neighbor's Wi-Fi. I need like a pre-flight checklist before I start the podcast and put that, make sure not on neighbor's Wi-Fi. Anyways, so apologies if I missed the gap there. We've got Ken wants to know when the Gravity Forms pods add-on is going to come out of beta.
So it's been in development. This code base has been in development since 2012, maybe. It's changed quite a bit dramatically from the initial version, but then we put it up, I guess, in 2014, and it's actually now a real add-on. It has a UI to actually add the mapping from a Gravity Form submission to a pod and choose the fields, all that stuff. There's a couple things that are missing, which is file uploads integration. We can't handle the file uploads yet. It's just a matter of doing it and getting the code in there. And then the last thing is just doing a couple more tests on it to make sure that whatever else that may be reported so far is resolved as well. But it's pretty close. I would say it's not beta now. Really, it was beta when it was initially released, and then we added the UI, and I would say it's stable. It just doesn't have all the features it needs for full coverage, which would be the file uploads.
Yeah, and while we're on this topic, can I just say thanks to Naomi, who's really helped out with that. So Naomi, who works with Stripe and has a company, Gravity Plus, that sells a Stripe integration for Gravity Forms. Who's just stepped up as somebody who likes to help and as a community member and has an expertise in in Gravity Forms. So she's helped out with a lot of getting little bugs worked out there and adding in some new features, and even wrote the README for that plugin. So it's a good example of one of the many people in our community who saw, we're ambitious, we're doing lots of things, and saw one of those things that they had some help, some ability to help out on. It really helped us get it done. And I think our community's full with that, and people helping out on the forums. James helping out with a ton of bugs, and now working on Pods 3.0.
Yeah, that was Naomi Bush. Did
I leave out her last name? Sorry.
I just tweeted her out. She's got some really great Gravity Forms plugins out there. So if you're on Twitter, check her out, Naomi C. Bush, and see what she's up to. Had a question. Are there any hooks in pods that for developers to hook into, or is the UI have everything you need? I think you sort of answered this earlier, but
yeah, I could speak to this definitely. Anything that Josh knows about me and Phil and everyone on the team, they're constantly finding all these hooks everywhere, and they don't even know exactly what they're for or why they're there until they actually need them. They're like, whoa, I needed this, and it was there. Like, I have a tendency when I'm developing within pods to just add hooks because I have some sort of foresight. It's not necessarily like I can go into TARDIS and see the future and say, oh, this guy needed this, I go fix it. It's more like I can see that this actually could be used later on. Anytime I define UI, I try to add filters and hooks and actions so that it's more possible to extend it and add new things. And I see that just visually as I'm developing. So there's a plethora of hooks inside of pods to do just about anything. And if there's not, we can add a hook really quickly. But I would say, yeah, it's very easy. And yeah, there's a lot of UI options available as well. So we try to do some more complex things when we could tackle them that they're most commonly needed. We try to bring it into Pods Core as an option or something, and at least expose it as an option. So with a checkbox, you can do some more advanced work that would take a lot of code to do, or a lot of integration, or we try to look for those things as well as we're doing it. So it might still be hookable, but we also have an option that is probably there for most things.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of times.
I just need to touch on the fact that you managed to fit the word plethora into the conversation, and that's amazing. It always takes me back to the Three Amigos movie when I hear that word. So thank you, and you are awarded many, many internet points. I would like to shift gears a little bit. So we're talking about pods and all the great things you can do with pods. Let's say if somebody wanted to consult with a pods developer or somebody who's really solid, or maybe even outsource a little bit of work to them, who do we hire? Are we going to you, Josh? Scott, I know you're I bet 10up doesn't let you sub.
Well, it's not necessarily that 10up doesn't let you. It's more like you don't have to when you work at 10up. Like they treat their developers really nicely. I have to say that they pay their developers well, and it's been a great place for me to work for. So I haven't needed to, as opposed to previously. It's definitely helped me out. But when you were looking for pods development, you would go to someone like Josh, who's part of the pods team, but he's also a third party as well. He has stuff he does on the side. We also have Phil Lewis on the team that does stuff. But right now we have everything really hyper-focused on just a minor set of ongoing larger projects for Phil. So we're trying to we're actively looking for people who would like to do development for people who are looking for pods customizations and stuff. So if you would like to offer your services, we'd love to be in contact with you. So hit up Josh. He's a good point of contact for that. We're also working on a directory for the new site. But if you're looking to have stuff done, hit up Josh as well, because he'll know people who can do it. He may be able to do it himself, or he can at least help you figure out that it's actually possible in pods already.
Yeah, I would say that we have a Slack channel, like everybody else now. It's because Slack is awesome. But if you go to pods.io/chat, you can get a link to get into our Slack. And yeah, I'm available. There's some other people that I work with that can help. But going into our Slack and asking in our support channel for help, either just advice, or if somebody can help with a specific project as a consultant or as a developer, is really a great way of doing it, because the most active people are there. So cool. I'm there. You could ask me. I'm Josh, but there's a lot of other people that might chime in if you ask for help or for a developer there.
And just because I'm getting old and a little hard of hearing, was it pods.io/chat or /Slack?
Chat.
/chat. And that'll
Chat.
get you
Okay.
into our Slack.
Yeah, that'll give you all the instructions to get into everything, and we piggyback off of the WordPress.org stuff, so it's pretty nice.
Well, as long as you've got support for Giphy in there, I'm in.
Of course we do. God is master of
Josh, you've got a couple of projects going on that I wanted to touch on. Tell me a little bit. The one that's in your Twitter profile, and say that 30 times fast. Hollow Tree. So give the little elevator speech on that.
Okay, so Hollow Tree, which is a SaaS service built with pods, is a team decision-making system. We're still in private beta right now, so if you email me and bug me, I'll set you up, but we hope to launch soon. So it is a tool for organizing organizations into groups, people who are stakeholders on a certain on something that the organization does, and then empowering them to make the decision moving forward on what that group is going to do. So it's a SaaS service that it was built totally on top of WordPress and pods, and we hope to roll out in the next few months, and then over the next year or so evolve into essentially a GitHub for sustainable design. So a decision-making tool is the first piece for community building, but we really want to apply this this great model of free software that I learned from working in WordPress to tackling big issues of sustainability and economic inequality in the world. in a way that we can implement it locally in different ways. We can branch out and create, instead of one solution for a problem, 100 solutions, 1,000 solutions for a problem, and share that together.
I'm really curious to see how that unfolds, because that sounds like a tough thing to tackle with software. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's my big pie in the sky project.
What's that?
That's my big pie in the sky project. So I'm interested to see how it unfolds too, but it'll be fun.
Sweet. And then you were mentioning the release of something else new. Tell us a little bit about that.
So David Kramer, who works on Pods, he's helped out with our template system, making it a lot better, the Pods Frontier project. He also made the free plugin Caldera Forms. It's a drag-and-drop responsive form builder. The two of us met through working on Pods and have teamed up to start a company called Caldera WP. So we have premium add-ons for Caldera Forms, but we also have a premium add-on for Pods, Caldera Easy Pods. It's a front-end tool. And then we have, it's a visual query builder and a front-end tool for Pods. We also have a custom login plugin, and we are getting ready to launch a visual editor for permalinks in WordPress. So a lot of fun stuff coming there. That's, what do these go further together sort of moments of that happens in this community that's really wonderful. You work on an open source project, you meet somebody really talented that you like, and you make some cool stuff together. So I'm very excited about that. That's calderawp.com, and it's live now. You can check it out.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should interact with other people in the community so that you can make friends and then go make cool stuff with your new friends. Scott, I think your hair looks great, by the way. But
thanks. I went through a whole step, like 4-step process to get it this beautiful for this specific call. So.
Are you using product?
Yes, I do use product. Herbal Essences shampoo and conditioner, and those are my 2 products.
Wow.
Plus Andy Comb, never too far away.
Your hard work shows, because your hair is amazing right now. One thing that's always a curiosity to listeners of the show, and really to any time you stumble across other developers, you want to hear about their workflow, the tools they use, kind of what their setup is. So I'm going to pitch this question to both of you guys, but maybe share what development environment you use and what your typical workflow would be on a project.
I guess
go, Josh.
Josh, go first. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a little workflow obsessed, especially because I want to automate all of it with Grunt. One of the things I do is write for Torque, WP Engine's blog, and I've been writing a lot about automating my workflow with Grunt there, if you're interested in details. But I generally use VVV like most people, though I also use ServerPress because it's just so quick and easy to spin up a quick test site. And I tend to use Composer for handling most of my dependencies. So I build out an entire site where the Git repo has very little content actually in it, just the just your WP config and your basic structure, and then everything in your composer.json, and then that way everything both server-side and locally is built, including WordPress, including themes, plugins. Anything that's not unique to that site is put in via Composer. And then I actually wrote a script to automate building that entire thing in Grunt. And so that's my site workflow right now. And then, of course, PHP Storm as my IDE. And then for plugins, very similar, except for I actually have a Grunt script to build an entire plugin, right? Really push it to Git, pull in the Composer dependencies, create a zip file, these sorts of things.
Your Grunt setup sounds amazing.
Yeah, I love it, and most of it is shared on torquemag.io if you search for me or for Grunt, and I am working on putting it actually all into a plugin. It's actually too redundant for me right now. I have to paste one file and set it up. So I'm gonna on my to-do list for this week is a Grunt plugin for building WordPress plugins and releasing them.
Awesome.
So I should say that it's totally inspired by the 10-up Grunt plugin starter and their theme plugin starter, which are really great if you want to do WordPress's plugin and theme development and have Grunt for your Sass, your Less, and your JS processing. Check out in 10up's GitHub. They have really great Grunt tools there.
I don't know who this 10up is that you're speaking of.
I hear they're hiring.
No, literally, I got 2 new people on my team this week. I was like, dang, we're really hiring. Because we just started a new team, and I got put onto the new team, and then we got new people onto the new team again. So it's like, wow, like we're in a growth period, and it's pretty awesome. But,
it's not a joke. 10up is hiring.
I heard. But yeah, so my environment is, I use PHP Storm. I think just about everyone on the Pods team use PHP Storm. A lot of people at 10up use PHP Storm as well. But I primarily use VVV for my local development. I'm really liking HGV from WP Engine. It's nice. I can't wait for it to grow up a little bit more so you can have like a site wizard and be able to add more sites and stuff easily. I really hate digging into code, the backend files in the server to add new sites and stuff, so I'm never going to touch that if I have to. So that's just going to be a stopping point for me for HGV, but it's really awesome what it can do. Some really fast development stuff. Like it's pretty cool to be able to test some of that stuff locally, where you couldn't do that previously very easily. I also spend a bit of time in Grunt as well, piggybacking off some of the stuff that Josh has done for Pods. We do a lot of stuff at 10up with Grunt as well for bringing down all the CSS and JavaScript stuff, optimizing it, splitting it up, concatenating it as needed. Speaking of concatenation, I have a cat in the background meowing, trying to get in, if you can hear. So my apologies there. But
is the kitty wearing a TARDIS T-shirt or anything?
No, but she's tried to claw up my TARDIS before, so try to keep away from TARDIS. But I guess outside of Grunt and PHP Storm and VV, I really don't do too much CSS stuff. I like to let people do that like to be in Internet Explorer every now and then. I prefer to stick towards the PHP side of things. But Grunt really helps a lot. Node.js is pretty cool. I've been digging into that more. Workflow-wise, when I develop a plugin, I copy one I built before that was and just change out some stuff. I could use whatever Josh is using, but I don't really build custom plugins that often anymore, really. So, yeah.
And the most important part of the workflow is you have to have a good work cat.
Yeah.
You both have work kitties.
I've got 2.
Well, and here I was with dogs. No wonder I'm not getting stuff done.
Oh, I have those too.
Right.
But your dad's good dogs.
Well, gentlemen, be thinking about your favorite recent discovery that has helped you in your life or business. This could be a book, it could be a plugin, it could be an article you read. So I'm going to circle back around and ask you that in just a second. But we're nearing the top of the hour, and I do want to thank everyone for sending in questions. If you want to stay in touch, well, that just sounded awkward. If you want to be notified of upcoming episodes of Office Hours, just go over to carriedills.com/subscribe, and you can do that. And I would also ask if you are listening to this after the fact on iTunes, or even if you just have iTunes, head on over there and leave a little 5-star review. If you feel that way about us, that helps other folks find the podcast. So with that said, Scott, what's changing your life recently?
2 things. In development, GitFlow. I've been really digging into GitFlow, and I really have applied it to just about every project I'm doing right now, and it's really, 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 really helping. Before that, I had a couple branches in Git or whatever, and it really does not match the organization and structure and workflow of GitFlow. So GitFlow has really changed my development since I started at 10up. Like, that was in July. So I've been I dug into GitFlow just before then, but really GitFlow has really been the thing. And yeah, it's kind of older, not necessarily recent when I learned it, but it still has its effects and wide-reaching on stuff I'm doing today. That still wows me. On the other side, not just development but music, I've been playing Rocksmith, learning bass guitar, and that's been pretty fun.
Awesome. With your TARDIS guitar strap.
Yes.
I don't really even know where to take it from there. Josh, how about you?
Things that have been changing for me? Well, Grunt in the last few months, definitely. Sorry if my dog is barking. You can hear him. What was I going to say? I really think for me this year, it's about being more of a team member. I feel like in the last year I had a great fun and did a lot of really great things being part of the Pods project. And then most of what I was doing myself was just me, working alone. And so both doing Caldera WP with David and also working on client projects with other developers has been something I've been focusing on. And that, Corey Miller from iThemes always says go farther together over and over again. I mean, and that's one of the best things about going to WordCamps is that you run into Corey Miller and you can see this really inspirational speech. And I'm excited about WordCamp Atlanta because hopefully that was one of the best ones I saw last year, so hopefully he'll be there again this year. But that you had him as at WordCamp DFW this year as keynote, and that was a great one. And that really inspired me to focus on how can I work with other people more this year in 2015. And for me, that's been the biggest change, is not just working with the cool Pods team, but working with as many teams and different groups of people as I can and trying to avoid working alone. And I think for me, that's been the biggest change.
Love that. That's a great takeaway. Gentlemen, I would love to thank our sponsor for the show, Manage WP. Fantastic. If you're a freelancer, if you offer maintenance packages for your clients, for the love of Pete, go check them out. You can check them out over at managewp.com. And with that said, gentlemen, where can we find you on the web to stalk you? Scott?
Well, if you're going to stalk me, probably scottkclark.com. If you're not looking to stalk me, pods.io, you can stalk everyone else.
Fair enough.
The best place to find us is Slack, really. Pods.io/chat to get into Slack, or find us on WordPress.org Slack. But I also am joshpress.net, and then my various companies, calderawp.com, holotree.com, and at Josh412 on Twitter.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and I'm Carrie Dills. You can find me on Twitter at @CDills, and I appreciate your time today and sharing your knowledge bombs with us, and look forward to seeing everyone else next week. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Word.
To your mother. Oh, still alive.